Hello, Kennedale. Jeff Navarre's Kennedale News Video Edition. We have a special guest for you today, but first, a little mention from our sponsor. Sprinkle Repair of Texas wanted to remind everybody that they do Christmas lighting installation for you, and they'll offer a free inspection of your sprinkler repair, just a general kind of inspection for maintenance, when you sign up with them for Christmas lights installation. So go ahead and give them a call. The number's in this top right here corner, and we'll also link the website in the description below. Just some general news around the area. Tim just put out this article about voting tomorrow, so make sure you get out to vote. It is voting day, election day, tomorrow, November 3rd from 7 to 7. You can vote anywhere in Tarrant County if you're a Tarrant County resident. Just show up with your license. It'll make the process a lot faster for everybody. One more thing for announcement, as you can see right here, we have the new archive. If you click on that, that is everything from May for the last 9 years on the old website before we did the redesign. So if you're looking for old articles, we finally managed to get all that content onto the website, and here it is for you. There's over 739 pages. Have fun. No pictures though, but all the content is there and preserved. We'll also be sending a record of this to one of the local colleges as an archival for preservation. And one more quick announcement. The Rotary Club is doing a flamingo sponsorship. Here goes, flock to your friends. The proceeds go to our local ISD students. We do them for free money for college, and this is where the money comes from. So we've already sent out several. We've got several orders, so make sure that you reach out to us and schedule your flock your friends today. Now, stop share screen. We have a special guest today. A local celebrity now, Corporal Nate Dancer. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a 4-day weekend around here, so my kids are home today and tomorrow. Very strange. I don't think I've ever had a 4-day weekend on a Halloween, but that would have been amazing growing up.
Well, I'm past that point with my kids, so they're all just about grown themselves and doing their own thing, working their own jobs. So Halloween is, basically one of those weekends where I pretty much work now. So
I saw you driving around. You drove right past me, and I had my glow-in-the-dark mask over here, and I was pointing my eyes, saying I got my eyes on you as you passed by. But I did see you out and about.
Good. I was in several neighborhoods on Saturday.
So before we get into that, how was it? Pretty uneventful for Halloween?
Fortunately, yes, it was pretty uneventful, and I'll take the opportunity, especially to thank the Crestdale neighborhood, because they invited me in to hand out candy and talk to the kids and talk to the parents and families, and just like I did last year, it was a ton of fun, and I always enjoy that, and I think I'll do it again next year, if the good Lord allows. So,
did you drive by the Wandell's house over by the fire station? It's the crazy one on the street. Yeah, that's the Councilman Wandell's house. He goes all out, and it's amazing.
There were several of them. I even attended for a little bit the block party over in Beacon Hill that they kind of put together on last minute notice. Had a bounce house and everything, but everybody was COVID free and friendly.
All right. My theme was actually COVID-19. I was a COVID-19 patient with my mask. I was in a jail. Like, we made this makeshift jail. Had this whole kind of metaphor in my front lawn.
I saw several of those that were COVID related. So I think the best costume I saw was a young lady named Natalie who was a plague doctor. So,
I did have one young man ask me, he goes, "You don't really have COVID, do you?" That made my night.
Yeah. Well, hey, it means you were convincing.
Okay, so Corporal Dancer, you work for Kennedale Police Department. Why don't you give us a little bit about your background, how long you've been with the force, your responsibilities as a corporal?
I've been an officer for about 15 years now, just a little over 15, going on my 13th year here with Kennedale. It was started in April of 2008, so I'm working on my 13th year now, or working in my 13th year, I should say. I was on patrol for a while, went to school resource. A lot of the people in the community know me from my SRO days here at the junior high. And it's no secret, I kind of miss those days every once in a while because those were a lot of fun. And then I did almost 5 years in CID before going back to patrol as a corporal and a field training officer. So now I assist our evening shift sergeant on the 3 to 11 shift in supervising the shift and taking calls and responsibilities and so on and so forth, the daily duties of your local law enforcement.
So basically the man in charge in the field.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A couple of days a week at least. So
that's how I like to manage too. I like to be the guy in the field, managing from the field. That's kind of my dirty little secret. Get my hands dirty.
I like to think that even when my sergeant's here, he doesn't have to do anything but his administrative duties because I'm out there with the other officers taking care of business. So
I'm sure Daryl appreciates that. I could drive Daryl. He's a part of the team here. So a phenomenon kind of happened recently, and it kind of, I think, started with you and Lori Sanders, correct?
Myself and Lori and Councilwoman Lee, she helped me kick it off. I met with her after meeting with the chief and human resources, and just basically threw my idea out there as an opportunity to spread a little positivity amongst the community and get to know the people that we work for. Sure. And within just a couple of days, it blew up a little bit locally, and I have absolutely enjoyed just going out and taking pictures and selfies and meeting with people and having conversations. And it's starting to turn into something and grow slowly but surely. But I'm certainly enjoying it. And as you can see on the screen, there's a few examples of what I've called #selfiewithacop.
Mm-hmm. So selfie with the cop, we kind of posted about a month ago or so. But if you go to Facebook and put #selfiewithacop, you'll see everything that has the #selfiewithacop into, and you can see it's grown pretty good. There's Greg. I know I saw Sandra in here somewhere earlier. And like you said, this was kind of your idea that you talked to the chief about, just to try to better have transparency with community and better relations with the community. Is that correct?
Absolutely, and that's the goal. And as I've explained to several of the members and citizens, there was so much negativity going on social media in regards to the police and the type of work that we do. I started to recognize that there's not a lot of people that really understand the job that we do. And if we could just open up conversations about that with the people that we work for, they would get a better idea of the type of people that we are, the type of people that are serving their community, and the job that we do on a daily basis. Simply because it's not just about taking people to jail and writing tickets.
Mm-hmm. Sure. And I know the chief has been an avid about community involvement and making sure that he's available and involved, and having your officers involved as well, because he's a Rotarian.
Absolutely, he is.
Mm-hmm. And Daryl too. Daryl is a part of the chamber as well.
Well, when I ran the idea by both of them pretty much looked at me and said, well, I said, I want to start this. And they said, well, how come you haven't started it already? And I said, okay, if that's I'm getting your blessing, then, I'm going forward. And within just, I thought it was very cool that within just a couple of days, I had people that were, messaging me privately or text messaging me, or even calling the police station asking to, for me to stop by and take pictures, stop by and have a conversation. I've had conversations from anything from, community involvement and meetings that they'd like for me to go to or show up at, to things about the racetrack, sports, you name it, we've talked about it. And that's what it's all about, is just opening up conversation. I want not just the people in Kennedale to see, but the people in, communities across the Metroplex and across the United States to see that, we're human beings too. We have the same problems that, the average adult and the average citizen has. We just put a badge and a gun on, for a living and
Sure.
enforce laws. So, I just want people to see, and I've said it before, we have a lot more in common than you think.
So you were saying you wanted to do this because you saw, obviously, I mean, on every how can you not see it's all over Facebook, just kind of this negativity going to police officers. But obviously, we're in Kennedale, small town. We don't really have what's going on in Dallas, let's just say.
Right.
But do you think that in the end that this just helps even just getting to the bottom of things? Like if there is a situation, hey, that's Tom's house. Let me go talk to Tom and see what's going on. And do you think that's just a kind of a better when it comes down to things like that?
Absolutely. When you know the people that you serve, it makes it easier for you to help them solve any problems that might arise. Police officers, unfortunately, we don't get called when things are okay. We get called when there's an issue, and the people we serve are relying on us to come and help them solve that problem and alleviate the issue. And we do the best we can to do that. Sometimes we're great at it. Sometimes, we kind of have to leave with a 50-50 situation, and sometimes we can't help them. But we do the best we can to explain, why we can't help when we do that. And I think that opening up conversations with the community and the people that we serve allows them to understand a little bit better how we do things and why we do the things that we do. And I'm not going to get into the intricacies and the politics, of course, but
Sure.
I just want people in the communities to feel closer to the officers that they're calling, because a lot of times, they may be at their lowest point or on the brink of their lowest point, and when we show up, we've got to make them understand that we care. This big deal to you is also a big deal to us, and we're going to do the best we can to help you through it. And I think we do that by opening up conversations with the citizens and with the people that we serve, and not just in the communities that we serve, but outside of the communities that we serve. Because, as you well know, if I can do this here in Kennedale, we can do this in any other city in the Metroplex.
Sure.
And you don't have to just live in Kennedale to contact your local police department and want to have a conversation and take a picture. You can do it anywhere you want to. So,
like you said, you guys are human beings too, with families, and go to church and pay your taxes just like the rest of us.
And we do the best when we show up to try to treat you the way we would want to be treated in that same situation.
I know I've never had a bad issue when I've had to call for Kennedale PD. I've always had great relationships with them, and even follow-ups just to check in and make sure everything was okay the next day. So I've always had a good experience. But you had mentioned the other day when we kind of did a pre-chat that some of your officers were a little bit hesitant about maybe doing this. Well, how do you feel like they are now about it after seeing this?
Quite a few of them have come around. And when I say hesitant, it was understandable that they were hesitant, simply because, officers a lot of times on duty, they don't really want to get their pictures taken.
Sure.
When people started carrying around smartphones in their pockets, and those phones had video and cameras, and then the video situation evolved. Cameras weren't just on our dash cams anymore. They're now on our bodies personally. So the citizens have them on their smartphones, and we actually, here in the city of Kennedale, now have them on our uniforms. So, we're as transparent as we can possibly be, and it makes a difference. So, we just want people to see that, we see you, and, the officers, as they've seen me, out in the community and taking pictures, and people coming up to the police department and wanting to take pictures, they've started to open up a little bit more about it. One of our other officers, Officer Kelson, just jokingly the other day sent me a picture of him with a horse, and the hashtag selfiewithacop. Yeah,
we just passed it.
No, that one actually was with me, but Officer Kelson took one the other night, because we just we were talking about the fact that it's not very often that a horse gets loose in the neighborhoods. And so, I just took the opportunity to take the picture. Well, then not a week later, another horse gets loose in the neighborhoods, and he was able to take that same photograph. And so it's growing slowly but surely. And the officers that I work with on my shift they know that I'm doing it on a regular basis. So, when they initially were like, no, we don't want to participate. Well, now they want to participate, and they're telling me, hey, if someone comes up to me and asks to take a photo, I'll happily take a photo with them. So I've really enjoyed the way that that's changed too. So, now we can see if we can get it started in other cities in the Metroplex and grow it from there. So, I'm waiting to hear from a corporal in Pantego that is interested in starting it in his city. And I think he and I are going to get together soon to talk about how I started it and how I'm doing it. So that's pretty cool to me as well.
Maybe I'll sneak the link over to the sheriff's office.
Okay. Hey, I'm all for it.
I know somebody up way up to the top who might be interested in something like this. So
good.
And so, one more question about this?
Sure.
What are you guys going through when you see all this? Like, where are you? Because obviously you're coming from somewhere wanting to do something like that. Like, how does it make you feel, I guess, when you're seeing the things on the news and the things on Facebook and Twitter and things like that?
It hurts. It hurts me personally, just because, that's not the type of officer that I am. And I understand where the community's coming from in the aspect of some of the things that I see them posting on a regular basis. But I also understand the other side, the officer's point of view and the police department's point of view. But I also believe that we're not going to be able to come to an understanding unless we open up dialogue about it. And as far as that's concerned, that's the farthest I really want to get into that part, because everybody's opinions are different. And we're open to listening to those opinions because we listen to them on a regular basis. And sometimes, as you well know, just by looking at social media, it's rammed down our throat a little bit, and it causes negativity. I don't want that citizen that sees and hears something on social media that's negative about police to lump us all into the same to the same group, because we're not all that way. Now, I'm not saying there's not bad apples in policing,
sure, but
don't paint us all in that same picture. And this is the Selfie with a Cop movement is not something that that I created on my own. I've just started to grow it, because when I got the idea and I got online and I typed in the hashtag, I found selfies with police officers all over the United States, but there weren't very many of them. And I thought, okay, this is not necessarily an original idea from me, but maybe I can grow it and make it into something that everybody will recognize, so that when a citizen is out in public, be it at the QT or 7-Eleven or at the movie theaters, and they pass a police officer in uniform, they don't walk the other way or avoid eye contact or talk to them. They, maybe they wave and engage. It is. Yeah, it is. It is, but it's also understandable. Given some of the information that's out there, we are here because we're called to be here. I'd say 95% of us, this job was a calling for us, and not just a job, but a profession. And we take it seriously. My wife recently went through the police academy after 13 years as a dispatcher. And I guess it was 13. Maybe I'm a little off there. I don't know. And decided to go into patrol. And she's done a bang up job on patrol for the Forest Hill Police Department, because she knows the people in the community. The people in the community are familiar with her, and she's familiar with the officers. And she's a tiny little woman, but she's fierce when she needs to be, and she's loving and respectful when she needs to be. And that's the officer you want in your community. The officer that's not just there to handle business and be forceful and enforce the law, but the officer that's also there when someone has a personal problem, or a mental issue, because sometimes we're called to be the Dr. Phil type when it comes to a domestic disturbance. And not every situation we go to, someone gets arrested or gets a ticket.
And
Sometimes
that's why I like small towns too. Like you said, your wife works Fort Hill. She knew everybody. We have a lieutenant that is from around here, worked around here, went through our academy, and went through the rakes now, and now she's command. And because everybody knows her and trusts her and knows when she comes around, she's going to get the job done and listen to what you have to say. And it's good to have that small community again, to have that kind of relationship to where people know who my kids are and know if they're in trouble to call me, and I'll be right there to take care of it, that kind of thing, instead of just trying to, take them down to the jail cell based necessarily. Hey, bigger trouble with me.
But how cool would it be even in the larger cities if you knew the officers that were coming were going to be good to you because you were familiar with them, even if you didn't know them by name or they didn't know you by name. It's just, and all that stems from opening up conversations and creating a dialogue so that the citizens and the communities we serve understand how and why we do our jobs. And I think that Selfie with a Cop gives us the opportunity to have those conversations.
Okay, so my last question, I guess, before I'll give you your 2 cents on it, is what are your goals that you have being a corporal and being in the field in the community moving forward, similar to the Selfie with a Cop?
Honestly, when we talk about goals and things like that, as far as my career is concerned, I'd be happy if I was still here in this same place 5 years from now, because I'm not that far away from retirement. And it's kind of funny to think about, me being eligible to retire, since I can remember when I first started and wanted to do this job at the ripe old age of 14. But the way I look at it is I had a mentor when I was 14 who said, as long as you're firm, fair, and consistent in everything that you do from here on out in your career, you'll be successful. And I'd like to say that I've been firm, fair, and consistent from the time I was in security as a kid to to when I went to the county jail for Tarrant County, when I went to, state jail out in Dallas, and now here working as a police officer in the city of Kennedale. I've never changed the way that I've done things. And I'd like to think that the people of the community would tell you, if I show up on the scene, that I'm going to be firm, fair, and consistent with you. There's officers here at the department that'll tell you that I'm not afraid to speak the truth. But I'm also not afraid to tell someone, hey, you're wrong in this situation, and we've got a job to do, and we're going to do it. So, but as far as goals, I would love to see, our community come even closer together. And I'd love to be a part of that. I kind of started that when I was in school resource. And there are students that were my students at the junior high and the high school that still keep in touch with me to this day, either on social media or via text message or phone call. And that makes me feel good too. So I know that you can go back and say, hey, well, if I could just touch one person and make a difference in their life, then my career is complete. Well, I don't want to do that. I want to help a lot of people. I want to be that guy that a lot of people lean on for improvement or assistance when needed. And I want all of the officers I work with, when we show up on a scene or we're called to a scene, when we show up, the people that we're showing up for say, okay, well, Officer so-and-so is here. I know everything's going to be okay. That's the ultimate goal.
So since you brought it up, the high school started kind of like an ROTC police academy kind of thing with Kennedale Police Department, correct?
Yes, they did. It's been fairly successful the last couple of years.
Can you just kind of give us a little insight on that program?
Honestly, I can't give you too much because I don't myself know too much about it. I refer you to Officer Starling over at the high school, Starling, since he's the one that's running it, and he's doing a great job running it. I've been involved up to a point where, because I'm the defensive tactics instructor for our department, and I'm a certified defensive tactics instructor through Blue Shield Tactical. Every time he throws an academy or does a presentation, he always contacts me to come in and teach the students or the kids that are involved a little bit, and so I give them a little bit of taste of what police officers are taught and what our officers here in Kennedale are taught on a yearly basis. So, but
I might have to sit in on that one time.
Oh, absolutely, you're more than welcome. The students I do know go through learning how to do traffic stops, learning how to respond properly to domestic disturbances. If you can think of anything that officers do on a daily basis, those students in the Student Police Academy are taught the same thing.
And
I'm hoping
a flavor, basically, give them a
absolutely
little bit of taste.
Absolutely, and I'm hoping that maybe a few of those students will see what we do and see how it's done and say, that's something I'd like to do when I'm 21 years old or older and looking for a career or a profession. And I know that there's also been talk, and I'm putting a little pressure on our administration. I know there's also been talk in the past of doing a Citizens Police Academy here in Kennedale, which I think would go over very well.
I know Captain Hull and I have discussed it a couple of times, and he's discussed it between chamber leaders and Rotary members as well. That's been an idea,
and I'd love to be
around.
I would absolutely love to be a part of that, because I think that it would go even further in explaining how we do what we do and why we do some of the things that we do and the decisions that are made. And it would also give, the adults and not just the kids a better understanding of the law. I
think that's what's important, especially with such disinformation out there, or just even maybe a first experience, like, a domestic, for example, and a kid's first experience might be a domestic kind of situation. Just it might leave a bad taste, or even movies and just our video games and things like that. I think it's important that the first kind of contact be a good one, so that way we because you and I were taught growing up, if you have a problem, go to a cop. And nowadays it's kind of that message is getting really kind of scrambled, and I want to make sure that my kids understand that if you're in trouble, make sure you go get to the police.
And again, that's one of the things that hurts my heart a little bit is I want them to be as excited when the cops show up and as secure and comfortable when the cops show up as they are when the firefighters show up, so to speak. I love my firefighters, especially the ones here in Kennedale. But and I've got a running joke with a lot of the people in the community that everybody loves when the firefighters show up, but when the police show up, everybody gets, scared or worried and afraid. And we don't want that. We don't want that message to be sent. We want people to know that when we show up for anything that they call us for, that we're going to do the best we can to handle business and help them solve the problem.
Okay, so any message to the citizens of Kennedale on the hashtag selfiewithacop?
Absolutely. Get in touch with me or any officer here at the department. Come up to the police station, send me a personal message either via social media or via my email at ndancer@cityofkennedale.com. That's how I can be reached via email. Make an appointment with me or just call me randomly on the fly when I'm here, driving through the streets. If I'm through the neighborhood and, I pass by your house and you happen to see me, stop me, flag me down. Let's have a conversation. Let's take a photo. If I'm stopping at the QT to get a drink, or if any of the other officers are out and about, and we're not involved in any official business, stop us. Yeah. Stop us and let's have a chat. I'm always willing to talk and willing to take a photo, and I can be a little long-winded sometimes. So get ready.
And more importantly, like and share when you do see Kennedale News or whomever share that hashtag. Go ahead and share it onto your wall. And help them make it go viral. Let's see if we can get it regional and national and global.
The more the merrier. Let's get everybody involved and let's make this something that works to bring us together as a community and as a metroplex, and not just spread the negativity and and hate and vitriol. Let's show each other a little bit of respect and a little bit of love instead of just talking about each other behind our backs and posting negative stuff on social media.
Sure. Well, Corporal Dancer, I appreciate you coming on to the show, and maybe we can do an update a few months from now.
Thank you for having me, Jeff. This was awesome.
All right.
And get in touch with me so I can come by and we can get our selfie.
Actually, let me go ahead. I'll do that too, but let me go ahead and just take a screen cap real fast. And I'll do a selfie this way as well. That way I can share with everybody that this video is coming out.
Get a little creative.
There we go. Got it. All right. And I'll definitely do it next time I see one of y'all for sure. And Kennedale, I appreciate you turning in. Make sure you go to kennedalenews.com to get the most recent local news for yourself. Find us on Google News. Find us on Facebook News. Find us on YouTube. Thank you.
Y'all come by and see me.